Hello, my name is Ahmed Zabiba, and today we're discussing Xuanzang travels. Background: Xuanzang is a famous 7th century Buddhist pilgrim and translator that made the legendary pilgrimage from China to India along the Silk Road. His recorded epic journey was recorded in his fantasy novel Journey to the West, which was very popular in China. His records of the Western region highlights a lot of different cultures and ideas that he interacted with during his travels along the Silk Road. His records were used by the Chinese imperial court, and it provided a rare insight to the politics, geography, and economics and cultural practices of the regions he encountered. Here we can observe a picture, which is an interpretation of what Xuanzang would have looked like. We can see that he is a Buddhist monk, and he was carrying his luggage and traveling around along the Silk Road. Xuanzang travels. Xuanzang lived during the emergence of the Tang Dynasty as the most dominant power in East and Inner Asia. He decided to leave his country illegally during a time of war against neighboring state. This made his journey to India illegal at first. However, uh, due to the invaluable information he brought back, the emperor accepted him again, and they actually welcomed him back to China when he was done with his journey. His journey lasted 16 years and 100,000 miles from 629 to 645 CE. This is amazing because it highlights a unique view of the Silk Road and significant changes that were happening in Asia. Some of these changes are the fall of the Western and the Eastern Turkic Empire, which was a really big threat to China. After the fall of these empires, of the Turkic empires, China rose to dominate that area, and the Tang dynasty flourished. After his travels, he returned to China, and he received a hero's welcome for bringing back invaluable culture and knowledge to China. Um, he also traveled to India by using the northern route, and he stopped at cities like Turfan, Kusha, and Hami, and then he traveled through the Hindu Kush mountains to India, and then he returned home via the southern route. Finally, Xuanzang interactions with great monks and scholars in South Asia and India also made for a complex cross-cultural dialogues in which both Chinese and South Asians became more aware of each other, and they became aware of each other as equally rich and sophisticated cultures. All right. So this is a map of his travels. We can see that he started in China, and he started in China, and he took the northern route, which is labeled as the outbound route, the blue route, through many cities like Anxi, Hami, Turfan, and other cities. Um, then he went through the Hindu Kush and traveled to India, and it's labeled as travels in India as the green route. Finally, we can see that he took the southern route, which is labeled as the return route, the red route. He took it back to China. It is important to note that on his way back, he brought many Buddhist scriptures back with him to China, as well as many valuable information about other cultures that he encountered on his way there. Alright, Xuanzang the Buddhist. Xuanzang stopped at many cities like Hami, Turfan, Kusha, and Aksu in the northern Silk Road route. He was invited to Hami by King Shu Wentai, of Turfan, who invited him to the castle where he preached Buddhism to them and replenished his caravan with horses, food, and other necessities. He preached Buddhism doctrine to kings, merchants, warriors, and his fellow monks that were on their way to India. In this picture, we can observe that Xuanzang was preaching Buddhism to monks and other merchants, other type of people, and uh, he also brought back 657 Buddhist texts from India to China. Finally, he spent his last 19 years of life translating Buddhist scriptures to Chinese, and we use his records now to help us study and understand Buddhism and its spread along the Silk Road. Uh, During Xuanzang travels, he studied with many famous Buddhist masters, especially at the famous center of Buddhist learning at Nalanda. And when he returned, he brought with him 657 texts, and also with the emperor's support, he set up a large translation operation, and he is credited with the translation of some 1300 Buddhist scriptures into Chinese. Alright. His journey to India. During his journey to India, he encountered the Islamic forces that have overrun Syria, Iran, Palestine, Egypt, and the entire Persian Empire. He encountered the Arabian forces in the lower half of the Indus Valley, which was conquered by Arabs as a strategic trade base near India. He notes the Indic influence on Central Asian kingdoms of the time. This is a big point because Indic influence was a big part of Asian culture at that time, and he noted that in his records. And he also knows the geography, climate, and gives a glimpse of the urban life, architecture, and some as well as the narration of the caste system in the cities he stopped by in India. He also depicted cultural and social norms as well as legal and economic practices that highlights the way of life of natives of that specific region in India. Here we can observe a picture which also depicts Xuanzang travel through India. We can see a Buddhist monk just traveling and spreading the word of Buddhism. Xuanzang and journey to the west. During Xuanzang travels, he recorded his travels in details in the classic Chinese text, a Great Tang records on the western region. This provided an inspiration for the novel A Journey to the West. Xuanzang is the hero to the novel A Journey to the West, which is a fantasy novel that depicted a Buddhist pilgrim on a sacred mission to recover original texts from India. The novel fictionalized accounts of legends around Buddhist monks' Xuanzang pilgrimage to India to obtain Buddhist religious texts called sturas. The novel included a lot of Buddhist and Chinese mythology and values, and it popularized due to its adventurous nature and the different mythical creatures the monk Xuanzang encounters on his journey, as well as some spiritual aspects of it. Here we can observe a picture of the monk Xuanzang on his travel and the novel Journey to the West, and we can also observe a lot of different creatures. We can observe his horse and some Buddhist mythical creatures like the monkey and the pig. These are mythical creatures in the Chinese and Buddhist mythology, and it was a big part of the novel at that time, which made it even more popular in China. All right, so the end, and finally, this is my works cited page. I used lectures, readings, and I also found some outside info to help me with some more detailed information about his journey and all the stops he made on his way, as well as his stops in India. All right, that's it.